Hello and welcome to the Kezia Top Sewing Workshop. The Kezia Top is a classic base layer. It's got a little turtleneck and it's something that I find I'm always reaching for in my closet in the colder months especially. I really like wearing it layered under things like the Greta dungarees or under dresses or even under our Zara jumper pattern. It works really well as well. So for the Kezia Top, you either need the printed sewing pattern, which is like this, and we post it to you, or the PDF version, which you can print out at home and then stick the A4 pieces of paper together. For this pattern, all you're going to need to make it is some stretch fabric. So I'm going to use organic cotton jersey today. And you don't need any kind of fastenings or elastic or anything. You just need your fabric, your thread, your sewing machine set up ready to go, and then we can begin. So when you have this pattern and you open it up, you will see inside there's two things. We've got the instruction booklet and the pattern piece here. So we're going to start with the instruction booklet and flip it open to the size chart page, which is page number 4. And this is your body measurement chart, which runs from a size 6 to a size 24. That's UK sizes, but you can easily translate them wherever you're sewing from today. So just grab a tape measure, and the most important measurements for this pattern are the bust, the waist and the hip. They're the 3 ones we need. So in order to find those measurements, take your tape measure to begin with round the largest point of your bum. So that is your hips. It's not on your hip bone, it's about 10 centimeters lower than that. And make sure your tape measure is really parallel to the floor. It's quite hard to do this without a mirror in front of me, but you guys should do it in front of a mirror. And then your waist measurement is near your belly button, something like that. And then your bust measurement is the fullest part of your chest, something like that. So jot down those 3 measurements, and we're working in centimeters today. And once you have those measurements, just take a little look at the body measurement chart and find which size you're closest to. If you're between sizes, just go to whichever one you're nearest to, and if you're bang in the middle, you can either grade the pattern between sizes or just size up and size down. We're working in stretch fabric, you can't go too wrong. So today I'm going to make a size 10 because that's closest to my size, and I think I'm going to use this lovely red organic cotton. So once we know our size, clear some space. I'm going to move my little machine out the way for a minute. And grab your pattern pieces. And they should look a little something like this. Lay it out nice and flat, and then take a little look at the key we have here, find your size and see which corresponding dotty and dashy line is next to it. So for my size 10, I'm going to do this one. So I'm going to find that line on all of the pattern pieces and just cut around it. Really simple. Don't need to add anything on, just follow the lines and you're good to go. And before we cut out the fabric, I'm just going to talk you through where each piece goes on the body so that you can picture it. It's quite nice to know that before we start cutting out. So this is the front bit, which goes, you can see on this one like this, and it's cut on the fold. So you cut one piece that goes all the way across the front like so. This is the back piece, which looks similar to the front piece, but obviously it goes across the back. And again, it's cut on the fold like that. Then we've got the sleeve piece, which wraps all the way around the arm. That's piece C. And you guessed it, it's that one there. And then it's a really simple pattern actually. This is the last piece. Just got the collar that folds over and wraps around the neck. And again, that one's cut on the fold. There's no variations with this pattern, but it would be very easy to hack. If you wanted to make it longer into more of a dress, you could definitely do that. So yeah, you've got a few nice options there. I'm gonna move this out the way a little bit more. So I'm gonna grab my nice stretchy fabric. This is organic cotton jersey. And I'm gonna lay it out on the table. And then take a little look at my lay plan on page 6 as a guide. Use this as a reference point, but if you can see a better way of laying out your pattern with the size that you're doing on the width of fabric that you have, go for it. The most important thing is to make sure that these pieces with this symbol here are cut on the fold. And that means they need to be lined up with the fold of the fabric. So there's a fold of the fabric over there, and there's 2 selvage edges here. So that piece is cut on the fold, and that piece is cut on the fold. And I can do those different way around because there's no print on this fabric. And then I need 2 sleeves, so I'm gonna do those there. And then once I've cut those out, I'm gonna flip. Oh, maybe if I do that up here, actually, I'll do that up here. So this is also cut on the fold. So once I've cut these pieces out, I'm gonna fold that piece and cut one there. So grab your weights, grab your pins, do a little bit of pinning, do a bit of cutting. Making sure this edge here is lined up really neatly with the fold of the fabric. Grab your fabric scissors, and then you're just going to cut around these pieces. Just a little reminder, you don't need to add any seam allowance on because it's all included in the pattern. So just cut nice and close to the edge of the paper. Awesome, so once you've got your 3 main pieces cut out, we just need to do the collar. So in order to do that, you want to cut off about as much as you need at the end here so that you can fold it over easily. Okay, so get rid of the underlayer. You just got one piece like this, you're going to fold it over like so, and then again finding that cut on the fold symbol, lining it up with the fold, pinning it in place, and then you can cut round. Okay, wonderful. That's all our pieces cut out. So let's just trim these bits off. Gonna get the roll of fabric out the way. Wonderful, don't need that guy. A few little scraps. We'll save those for testing out our stitch in a minute. And then one other thing to note is there are a few notches on the pattern which you might just want to take your scissors and do a really small snip into the fabric. Make sure it's less than 1/2 centimetre, And these will just help you later on when we're putting the sleeve in and just stop you from getting confused about which piece is which. They're like little clues that we leave ourselves. One at the front there, there's one down there. That's fine. And there's a couple here. Just find your size on this piece and find the notches, and then you're good to go. Wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to unpin those and I'm going to get my machines all set up, ready to sew. Awesome, so our machines are set up. We know that we're using a stretch stitch, whether that be zigzag, 3-step zigzag, twin needle if you've got one, or overlock. You choose. And then we're going to grab first our pieces A and B. So we've just got A, which is our front piece, and B, which is our back piece. Make some space. Don't need the weights anymore. And we're just gonna lay these pieces sandwiched together. So I've got the right side facing up on that one, and then right side facing down on that one. Grab my pins. Where have they gone? Here they are. And we're literally just going to pin our side seams and our shoulder seams. And we want to make sure that the raw edges are really nicely lined up together for this. Okay, we're ready to start sewing. I'm going to use a zigzag stitch. You use whichever stretch stitch you like. Just remember the seam allowance is 1.5 centimeters. That's the side seam done. We're going to do a shoulder seam. Back down the other side, that nice long bit. Okay, beautiful. So we've got our shoulder seams and our side seams all sewn up. Now it's time to grab our sleeve pieces, which are over here. And we're going to separate the two, and then we're just going to fold them in half with right sides on the inside, and we're going to sew all the way down this long edge here. So you can pin it if you want to. I think I'm just going to go for it. Same thing, using your stretch stitch, 1.5 seam allowance. If you want to use your overlocker, you can. That's one sleeve done. Grab your other sleeve. Make sure you do right sides on the inside. Sandwich them together. And sew all the way down that long edge. So we're sewing this seam here at the moment. Nice one. That's our sleeves ready to roll. So we're going to keep the garment inside out, but we're going to turn the sleeves the right way round. Do that to both of them. And then I'm going to stand up to show you guys this because I think you'll be able to see it better. So we've got our garment here, and we know that this is the front of the garment and this is the back, because the front comes lower and the back sits higher. We've also got our notches. We've got a single notch at the front on the armhole. Let me show you that. So a single notch there and then a double notch on the back. So we're going to find our sleeve and we're going to find our single notch on the sleeve and pop that in here and match them up. So the whole sleeve goes in the garment like so, and match up that single notch. That's why it's really important to cut your notches at the beginning, because they become your clues later on. And then match up your double notches on the other side. So I've got the double notch of the sleeve and the double notch of the back bodice, matching up beautifully there. We can also match up our underarm seams. So you might want to send your seam allowance going one way on one and one way on the other. That just reduces bulk at the seam. Pop a little pin in there. And then you might want to add a couple more pins at the top. Just evenly spread this sleeve out so you get a nice smooth finish when you sew. So I'm just evenly pinning the sleeve head in place until we're ready to sew. Great. So I've got around 6 pins in there, and I'm going to come back to my machine and I'm just going to sew all the way around where I have pinned. Again, 1.5 centimetre seam allowance. I'm starting at the underarm seam and I'm going to slowly just work my way round. Taking it really slow, making sure my notches are still matching up. And then when you get back round to the bottom, just overlap your stitching a little bit. Finish with a back stitch, trim all those loose threads. Don't need those anymore. Now if I turn that the right way round, obviously if you've got an overlocker, feel free to overlock that instead. If I turn that round, you can see we've put our first sleeve in. Amazing. That's one of the things I think people who are new to sewing find the hardest. So if this is your first time, well done. Now you just got to get the other one in. So have it inside out as before. Make sure that your sleeve is the right way round, and then again just matching up the notches, pinning it and sewing it. People often ask me if I've ever thought about selling my garments ready to wear, but I think the magic is in you guys making it at home. I think there's so much beauty in knowing how things are constructed and making them for yourself and making them for your friends and the community around you, rather than as sort of just buying more and more stuff. So I don't think I'll ever have my own range, but I will be bringing you lots more sewing patterns, I hope, in the near future. Okay, so our second sleeve is pinned in, and I'm just going to sew all the way around, same as I did before. Amazing, that's our second sleeve in. So I'll just turn that the right way around so you can see what we've done. We're flying through this, everyone. Smashing it. It's looking on its way to being finished. So now we're going to put the collar in. So all you need to do that is grab your collar piece, fold it in half, right sides on the inside, come to your machine. We're going to stitch down this short edge here so that it's going to create a continuous circle. And again, just using your same stretch stitch. Trim those threads. And then fold it in half like so. So you've got this nice collar piece. Maybe just have a little try on, pull it over your head, check that you can get it on and off easy. There's nothing more annoying than having to squash a garment over your head. So yeah, just check you're happy with the fit. And then you want to turn your garment inside out. And we're going to pop the collar in. So remember, the higher side is the back and the lower side is the front. So we want to hide the seam in the collar at the back. So I'm going to pop my whole collar in that hole, like so. And you should have a little notch at the centre back. And you're just going to line the seam in the collar up with that notch. Grab your pins. And then we're just going to pin the collar all the way around. So you might want to go to the centre front next. There should be a notch in your collar at the centre front and a little notch at the front of your garment. So let's pin that in place. Hopefully you guys can see this. It just looks a bit like a mad ball of red fabric, but if I hold that up like that, you can see the collar's just gone in there, and then I've got 2 more notches for each of the shoulder seams to match up to. So I'm going to pop a pin in there. Same thing. You can put as many pins as you want in here. I'm going to do just a couple more to be on the safe side. And then I'm going to sew. I tried to make this turtleneck like close fitting on the neck, but not too close fitting, so it should still feel comfortable. There we go, that's all pinned in. I might demonstrate this on the overlocker just so you can see what the overlocker does. But if you don't have an overlocker, just do it on your normal machine with your zigzag stitch. So I've got my garment all pinned, ready to rumble, and I'm just going to sew that collar all the way round. I'm going to start at the back, and I'm going to switch my machine on. That'll help. And I'm going to take the pins out before I get to them. Take this real slow and make sure all your raw edges are nicely matched up. So you can see this lovely stitch that the overlocker does. Finishes the edge really neatly. And I'm coming all the way back round the circle. And then I'm just going to overlap a tiny bit of stitching at the end. beautiful. Just pull those threads so they sit nice and tight. And then trim them. And that, my friends, is an overlocker. It's quite a game changer. So that is our collar on. Let me turn it the right way around so you can see. So that is our Kezia collar on. Now all that's left to do is hem the bottom and then you're ready to wear it. So in order to hem, I'm going to jump back on the zigzag stitch, but if you have a cover stitch machine, you can use that. So in order to hem, I'm just going to turn up the bottom about 1.5 centimeters, but if you want to do it more or less, you can. And trim any threads that I no longer need. And then I'm just going to sew all the way around with a zigzag stitch. Beautiful, so I'm just coming back round to the side seam where I started. Little back stitch to end. Let's trim those threads. Okay, so we've also just got to hem the sleeves. So in order to do that, really simply just fold about 1.5 centimeters in, like so. And if you want to, you can pop a couple of pins in. And all we're gonna do is zigzag around that circle. If you've got a cover stitch machine, that's how I've done this one. You could do it like that, but a zigzag will do. Take that first pin out. And little back stitch to start as normal. That's one side done, and then we just do exactly the same thing on the other side. There you can see the nice hem. Couple of pins, and then just going to zigzag all the way around. Okay, all done. That, my friends, is one beautiful Kezia top. I'm just going to give it a little iron so that we get those creases out the front and the back, and then it's ready to wear. I hope you loved sewing with us today, and we get to see you on another workshop soon. If you've made a Kezia and you're on Instagram and you want to share it with us, we are at Made My Wardrobe, and you can hashtag Kezia Top. We love, love, love seeing what you've made, so we hope to see you on there. And we're the same handle on YouTube, at Made My Wardrobe. Thanks for giving us a little like and subscribe, and we'll bring more workshops to you soon.